The next thing that I think is really important for families to understand and make decisions about is what type of insurance do we need? Do we need the permanent kind or the term kind, and what best suits our needs? Let me just sort of share with you some ideas related to that I think might be helpful that for families like yours or families like mine certainly are. So your youngest son is 10 years old, and then your daughter is 14, and then your oldest son is 15, okay? So if we just had a big term policy and the term was the only solution, what most people would suggest is let's wait till the youngest is out of school, maybe when he's 22 years old. So maybe we'll take out a 15-year term policy so that when he's 25, all right, we're going to have all this coverage till he's 25 to protect our family. However, I want you to consider this. What that's suggesting is on a Tuesday at 14 years and 364 days into this policy, you've got a need for this much insurance. And the very next day on a Wednesday, because that 15-year policy is up and he's 25 and out of college, out of the nest, now all of a sudden I have a need for zero coverage. I don't think anybody would suggest that that's the way life really works. Like one day I need $2 million in coverage, the next day I need none. The reality of it is that we probably need less over time. In other words, if your 10-year-old was 15, life's going to be horrible if one of the spouse passes away. But would life be a little bit easier to navigate and manage if your youngest was 15 as opposed to 10? As it relates to losing one of the spouses. On the other hand, if the youngest was 2 and the oldest was 5 or 6 years old, would it be even more difficult? Might there be a need for even more protection to protect our family at that point? Of course, the answer is yes. So what I suggest that most of us, young families, middle-class families like ours, probably the best approach is that when the kids are young and in the nest, we have a high dependency period where we need lots of insurance coverage to protect our families. And that once our children graduate and leave the home, it's not that we don't need zero insurance, but we need less insurance for a long period of time. In other words, God forbid something happens to me, even if all of my kids are done with college and out of the nest, I still want to provide my wife a certain lifestyle. I still want her to be able to enjoy our family home, enjoy all the goals and dreams that we share as a couple, be able to travel, be able to take care of the kids and grandkids. I don't want her to have to change her lifestyle dramatically just because I pass away and our kids are out of the nest. So what many families find is that we use permanent insurance, and that permanent insurance starting today over a long period of time throughout the end of our life provides basic coverage that we're going to need no matter what. And then we stack on top of that permanent coverage, term coverage. And that term coverage gives us the additional protection we need during what I call the high dependency periods. So what many families do is they take out a long-term permanent policy, and oftentimes can use this to supplement retirement or long-term care situations down the road. Then take out a short-term term policy with lots of coverage, use lots of the cheap stuff for a short period of time till their youngest kids are out of college and out of the nest. Does that make sense? Can you see how that strategy might help us to minimize costs and yet give us all the protection we need short-term as well as the protection that we need long-term? Terrific. What's important if we consider a permanent policy down the road when we're looking at these investment grade policies is to understand how they're funded. In other words, let's say that we had a policy and our cost of insurance, COI, cost of insurance was $100 a month. And we decided in this policy to put an additional $100 a month into the savings aspect of the investment grade policy. So our total monthly premium would then be $200 a month. Let's say investor number 2 has the same policy and the cost of insurance is $100 a month, but they decide to put $300 a month into the savings portion of that same policy. Their monthly premium is now $400 a month. Most of us are trained to look at insurance policies and go, I don't want to spend $400 a month on an insurance policy. This one's way cheaper. Here's what I want. However, when we're using them for the investment, for the savings accumulation feature, and not just the insurance, here's what we understand. In this one, where I'm putting an additional $100 a month in, 50 cents out of every dollar goes to my cost of insurance. Over here, where for every $100 is going to the cost of insurance, 300 is going towards savings. Over here, 25 cents out of every dollar is going towards my cost of insurance. So this winds up being a far more cost-effective policy for the individual who understands it's not about the bottom line premium, it's about how much money I'm putting into the savings portion of the policy. Does that make sense?